Hello, you guys, and welcome to episode number 3 of the Break the Mold podcast. Today, we are in a new scenery. We're normally in my home office, but we decided to do it here at the warehouse due to some timing issues. But looks good, and I'm here with my co-host, Daniel, and our guest, Reyes The Entreprenuer. So it's been a while since we had him on the channel, I think about 2 years. But I wanted to do a quick intro for him before we get started in case any of you guys don't know who Reyes is. The Entrepreneur is a full-time YouTuber for the last 5 years, and his mission is to share free knowledge to help other people start and grow their own businesses. So yes, let's go ahead and introduce, or you can go ahead and introduce yourself and let the people know who you are, what you do, and then we'll dive into all the questions we have for you.
Sounds good. Like you said, Reyes The Entreprenuer. That's not my real name. But what I do mainly on YouTube and my mission is to help as many people as I can start their own side hustle, hopefully make it into a full-time business. And the way I do it is by sharing free 99 knowledge of me actually starting businesses. So I've done t-shirts, vending, eBay. And right now, my current business is my YouTube management service. That's what I'm doing.
Awesome. And you are our second official guest on the show. So this is cool. I'm glad to have you here.
Thank you.
All right. So Reyes, we actually have a whole bunch of questions to ask you. So we'll just kind of go one by one and we'll just dive into them. And I have a lot of little things I want to ask in between. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm gonna have Jared edit all this out, by the way.
Hey, I'm ready, bro. Hit me with the hard questions, all right? I got it.
Definitely.
It's like, what is your middle name? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Don't ask for my citizenship status, right?
Oh, man. All right. So, Reyes, question number 1. Reyes, you have been doing YouTube for the last 5 years. What were you doing prior to YouTube?
So I've been doing YouTube full time for the last 5 years, but I've been doing YouTube for 8 years. The first 2.5 years, I was grinding it out and, of course, had a day job. I had a family, newborn child, and I was working day job to day job just because I wanted to make YouTube work. I was 25, didn't have much going on in my life, and I wanted to change. And once I made my first YouTube video, showing the struggle, showing how people could dig themselves out of holes, I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to make content that's going to help people. And I don't care how long it's going to take. So I had day jobs and YouTube until finally 2018, one video took off and I've been doing YouTube ever since.
Wow. Yeah. Now, who was your inspiration? Because, I mean, you were just on the web looking around on YouTube and you're like, you know what, this guy is, or female, reminds me of something I want to do. Who was that inspired you? For me, it was Yanamai's car channel. So I know maybe you might have a spark that was like, I could do this. This guy did it.
So even before I made my first YouTube video in 2015, my official YouTube video, I messed around with YouTube before. And then one of my mentors was books. I started reading how to grow businesses because before I started YouTube in 2015, when I was 25, from 18, even from 17 in high school, I always tried growing my own business, but it always failed or I quit. And that's when I decided to start reading books and learn from other people. And I remember one of the quotes that really stuck with me is, if you want something different from your life, you have to do something different, because if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. Another quote that really stuck with me was, do something that you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And I was like, man, I really love teaching. I kind of like YouTube. Let's put those together. And then once I made my first YouTube video, it worked out. I loved it. Now, just letting people know, if YouTube didn't work out, I was still going to do something with teaching, but it just happened to be YouTube that really drew me to it. So no specific person, but just I needed a lifestyle change. And that's what did it for me.
So you were 25. So you said you started YouTube 8 years ago. So
yeah.
It would have been, yeah, 19. And was there a lot of entrepreneurial stuff on YouTube at the time? I'm not even sure. I think it was just starting to hit off. pretty hard.
So I kind of jumped on a wave early where I do something called free 99 knowledge, where I don't charge for my knowledge. Back when I first started, everybody that had an entrepreneur channel was selling a course or a program, which is great. But what made me different and what people liked about me was that I was giving you the whole sauce, no fees. And that's what really helped me grow my t-shirt content, my vending content, because I was showing you the good and the bad. Yeah. Eventually, though, nowadays, everybody's doing free 99 knowledge. So I've been struggling for the last couple of years to find the next thing that's going to take me to the next level. But that's just YouTube. You grow a channel and then you need to adapt, change your content to attract a new audience. And that's what I'm currently struggling with. But I'm going to get it, man. I'm going to get it.
Yeah, I mean, 500,000 subscribers, right? Close to that.
Yeah.
So you got this big weight of people just kind of like, what's next? You know, what are you going to do?
Okay. Yeah, so I noticed that you talk about your mission, kind of it's like providing free 99 knowledge to everybody around. And obviously, you know, we have people that gatekeep information they don't want to share. And like you're saying, sell a course. And I know you kind of went into it a little bit, but, you know, what made you at the time just think like, hey, I could just provide it for free? Like, what were you expecting, if you were expecting anything in return at the time you just made that decision?
So like I said, when I was 18 to 25, I tried different businesses. And looking back, one of the reasons I failed because I didn't have knowledge and I was also broke. So I couldn't purchase any courses, any programs, pay for mentorship. And I told myself, there's somebody out there in the same position struggling that if they could just get a little bit of knowledge, a few tips for free, it should really help them with their business, motivate them. And that's why I did it. I didn't expect anything out of it. Like, for example, I started YouTube 2015. I didn't make money until 2018. For those 2.5 years, I was doing it for free because I wanted to help people. And that's what I figured out really helps grow a business. And something I learned in books. Whatever you give, you get 10 times the amount back. And I truly believe, but I don't expect anything back. I just give it, and whatever comes my way, I'm grateful for it.
Now, were you a reader or Audible kind of guy?
I became a reader, but the only reason I became a reader was because I remember this day, I was doing eBay for about 1.5 years. And for the last 6 months, I was doing it full time. And then one day I logged into my eBay account and I got banned. And that's when I realized, man, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I had a little bit of success, but it was the wrong way. I need to learn. And that's when I just started picking up books and started reading.
Yeah, it's definitely, I couldn't really focus too much when I would sit down and read. So I was like, I would do my reading during cardio, but similar, when I would do 45 minutes of stairs, I'm like, I got to keep my mind busy. There's something I got to do. And I was like, I can't just keep watching, these mindless entertainment videos, and although they're fun. So I had my first break similar to yours, listening to these video or listening to these podcasts, not even podcasts, I'm sorry, listening to audibles. And these Audible books would keep me like, oh, wow, I never thought about it this way. Or I never thought about, you can do other things than just go to college, or, it was exposing you to more. And it's kind of like, it's like learning a human's biography, essentially. You're able to imagine if I'm 60 and then I'm writing a book of all the things I learned in my 60 years of life, you're getting that in those, 100, 200 pages. So a lot of people forget how important books are. And, start. Well, yeah. So okay. Anything else you want to add onto that specifically before we go on to the next?
Just want to let people know I still read to this day, but one thing I learned, go at your own pace. For example, I only read like 10 pages at a time, 2 or 3 times a week. I don't try to kill a book. What I really try to do is absorb the knowledge. And another thing is I've tried reading longer, but it's not sticking. The information isn't sticking. And if it's not sticking to me, there's no point in reading. So I read my 10 pages every now and then. And another thing is, It's the journey, guys. It's not about achieving your goals tomorrow. It's about the journey and enjoying that journey. And hopefully, eventually, you hit your goals. But that's it, bro. That's it.
No, definitely.
I think a good keynote here is a lot of people, they call it like hustle porn, right? It's they get so obsessed with just learning and so obsessed with watching videos on motivation, but they don't actually implement the things that they're learning. So that's something you got to be careful with at first. And I did that a lot at first. I was like, yeah, I could do it. And I would just pause on decision making because I couldn't do anything because I was scared. So it's like, okay, how do you take that knowledge and go, do something to do something work? But yeah, so that was good points. You want to do question number 2?
Yep, definitely. So you roughly have like 500K subscribers right now. So obviously you said the first 2 years kind of were a struggle. So when did it really like pick up for you and you really started seeing, I know you mentioned that you had a video that blew up and you're like, hey, this is it. This, it's doable. This is what I want to do. What were some of those obstacles and kind of struggles that you went along the time?
So from the get-go, it was, how do I make income out of this? I sold merch. I tried selling my services. Like, for example, what I was doing T-shirts, this and that. But honestly, it was just patience and not knowing when you were going to hit this goal. Because, for example, the first year, and of course, at first, like I said, my girl was pregnant. I had to provide income. I had a full-time day job, Burger King, Taco Bell. I jumped from job to job, the fields, just to bring in that income. But the hardest thing was the patience. Because think about it. Somebody comes to you and says, hey, I'm going to do YouTube. That first year, 32 subscribers. The second year, maybe like a couple hundred subscribers. At what point do you tell that person this might not work out? And that's a battle I had to do, not just within myself, but the people around me. Because of course they wanted the best for me. They're like, hey, go to school, get a secure job. I'm like, no, it's gonna work out sooner or later. And I just kept believing in myself. And I told myself, this is the only thing I want to do. There's no plan B for me. It's either I'm going to be successful in this or I'm going to die trying. I'm going to be 70 still on this YouTube grind. But it finally, bro, it literally happened overnight where I posted that video and the next day it got 10,000 views. Now it's nothing. But when I was only getting a couple hundred views per video, that blew my mind. And then it went to 100,000. And then that first month I made $500 and I was working at AM PM at that moment. One thing I learned was don't jump the gun. I didn't want to quit, especially since I had a family coming. So I went from full-time AM PM to 3-4 days, put more effort into YouTube. Second month, $1,500, still not enough to support family. So I went from 3-4 days to 1 or 2 days AM PM, kind of like on the weekends. Yeah. Third month, $2,500. I tell the homie at AM PM, hey, thank you for the opportunity and the slushies. I'm dipping, and I've been doing ever since. But the hardest part was patiently working for 2.5 years, praying, hoping that hopefully one day it's going to work out. And that was the biggest struggle, man.
And I think some important things there. You mentioned that one, security first, right? So a lot of people, they want to start a company. They're like, I'm quitting my job. I had a guy that came into Tint School. He's like, I'm quitting my job. I'm going to do tinting full time. Like, hold on. Like, just because you see this doesn't mean that you should do that immediately. Like, what if you don't like it in 6 months? What if something happens in a year? So I would say that's a very important key point, that wait until your income, I would say pay off your debts first and then start, but wait until your income from your business is making enough money for maybe a year or 6 months before you even think about, quitting full time or doing it full time. And also that could be seasonality aspects to it. There's a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, for you, it's a bit different because your business is your personal brand, right? So you're sticking to one thing, which is you, for 10 years. And a lot of people don't realize the same thing with service, right? If I'm doing tinting in the beginning, I'm going to get 1 car every week, then 2, and then 3, and then there's hiccups, and then before you know it, you have 50 clients in a month. But it's a slow, progressive, trail the whole time. Yeah. So
exactly, man.
Yeah. These are the keynotes I just add for people as they're watching, just picking apart what you're saying and applying it to business.
No, exactly.
Now, I want to mention something. We're sorry about that, but one thing I noticed is that I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, young, older, and one thing I've learned is that we could give people this information, but until they go through it and figure out themselves. For example, I know a couple entrepreneurs who have a day job, and they're the type of person that they have to go all in. They have to burn those bridges so they could see if they're going to sink or swim. And there's other people who play it safe. So, and that's how I was. The reason I learned I need to stick with my AM PM job until I make a certain amount was because I learned that lesson the hard way. And I'm glad I learned it the hard way, but it was like my first business. Hey, I quit my job. I went all in. I struggled. It was seasonal. I went back to the day job and tried again. That's how I learned. So one thing I tell everybody is figure out what type of person you are, what motivates you, and hopefully you just don't give up. That's all I got to say.
No, definitely. You did mention like the first few years were kind of rough, and you were talking about how your family, maybe, they were trying to support you as much as they can. But what do you think? I mean, if even that's the case, like when you just take it out to the back and just shoot it in the head and just be done with, YouTube, your business, like how do you decide that? Obviously you stuck with it and now you're, 500,000 subscribers, but you say at what point do you just take it out to the back and just, say your goodbyes and just kind of move on from that?
So I would say if I didn't enjoy it at any point, like for example, right now, because I love teaching and YouTube is that vehicle to reach more people, I love it. Like when I make videos, I record people, I'm not working. I don't see it as working or clocking in and out. I really enjoy it. Now, if at one point, which I've done businesses before, like vending, stocks, I did it just for the content, but then I stopped enjoying it. I quit, even though it was getting views. And even though it messed up my channel because I switched too many hustles, if I don't enjoy something, I've tried forcing myself to do it. I can't, man. So if at any point this YouTube ever became unenjoyable, I hated it, I dreaded it, I will quit in a second. But I love doing it, man. Yeah,
100%. There's 10 different things I want to say about that, but I know we need to move on to the next question. But I completely understand. There's times where, so what my question to you on that would be like, for example, I don't love tinting. However, I still have to do it to keep the lights on. But I'm using my creativity from tint. So I don't love tinting, right? But I love that I can do more things outside of tinting, right? Tinting to me is like kind of like YouTube for you. It's like, it's the vehicle to give me the opportunity to give me a podcast and to give me a distribution center and to give me my house and all these things. So I think it's just a different perspective of looking at the work. So a lot of times, like, I don't want to tint today. I do not want to be doing this. I'd rather be doing anything else. But I'm like, well, if I don't tint, then I can't do anything else I do. So I feel the same. But then I turn it into a good thing. I'm like, well, if I do it, then I get to have my life, and I like my dog, and I like my house, and I like what I do, and I like that I can go out on the weekends. And so it's like, then it makes me feel like, oh, that's right, I do still like it. I just have to look at it from a different perspective. But there are certain times where like I hated the distribution because it was killing every cell of my body. And like, I don't know if you noticed when you were here, I was like 20 pounds heavier, stressed out, just miserable. And I stopped it. Because I was in Greece getting phone calls about pissed off customers because the package didn't arrive. And I'm over here booking Ubers while in Santorini drunk on a yacht. And like, it's just like, I'm like, this is it. I can't even enjoy vacation. I can't even go out. So I stopped it. And that's where I relate to you in that aspect of you have to know when to quit and maybe just regroup and maybe just figure out a better way.
So you mentioned that you love what you do, but there's certain parts of the job you don't like. Me, I'm really good at coming up with ideas. I'm really good at planning. I hate editing with a passion, bro. But it's part of the job. So I did it until I made enough money to delegate it. Right now I have a full-time editor 2 freelancing editors, and I hate that. Another thing I hate, which I try. See, here's the thing. Even if you don't love it, you gotta learn how to manage it. Like, for example, me, I do all my edits in the morning because I can't edit all day, and I don't want to edit in the afternoons. I want to relax. And another thing is the customer service, which I need to get better at, Julio, but I hate going through my messages, replying back to people, and then they're waiting for me to reply back when I want to do something else. So, but it's part of the job. I manage it where I don't answer emails or messages until 11 in the morning. And I use that morning, the first part of the morning, to get the edits done. Once I get those, I answer messages throughout the day. And at 5 p.m., I clock out, bro. Yeah. People call me, people message me. My phone is off because here's the thing. If it's really important, they're going to have to wait till the next day.
All right, Reyes. So you have thousands of people who watch your content. Do you feel any pressure? You have roughly 40 million views across all of your videos. Do you feel pressure?
Not anymore. There was a pressure at the beginning, and I learned this through business where you can't let customers or your personal life pressure your business, but especially your mental health. For example, I always tell my clients, my YouTube management clients, post at least one time a week, but that's if you can. For example, me, I haven't posted a video in like months sometimes. But it's because, first of all, I don't feel I have something good to post. But secondly, I'm going to post what I want to post. And don't get me wrong, sometimes that's not the best mindset to have. Because, like, for example, in business, you have customers. Even if you don't feel like doing something, you got to do it. But since this is my channel and I don't feel I have something good, even though I get messages all the time, Reyes, when's the next video coming out? Reyes, when are you making another shirt video, vending video, this and that? I tell them, I'll post when I post. And that's my mentality with even in business. For example, I mentioned at 5 p.m., I close my line. I turn off my phone. I don't answer messages or text messages. That's because good. I'm not going to let a customer pressure me to take that time away from my family. And it's happened before where I did have an upset customer because he's like, Reyes, you didn't answer at 9 p.m. when I called you. And right away, I already know, hey, man, I'm sorry. I don't think we might be the best fit. Here's a refund. I hope the best for you. Because, and that's what I do all the time, bro. If there's a customer that I feel doesn't fit my business model and how I do things, I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm just saying we're not a right fit. I'll let them go. For example, last month, I had a huge client, $2,000 a month. I'm like, oh, that's a good payday right there. Easy content. But we weren't the right fit. And I let them go politely, and I left the door open if they ever want to come back. But I let them know, this I do things. This how you guys want to do things. We're butting heads. It might not be the right fit, but if you guys ever want me to lead, let me know.
Right. It's like dating, you set your standards.
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's good that you have boundaries. Like you're saying, some people might not be the right fit, and that's definitely, especially as like a brand new business owner, sometimes you just want to say yes to everybody. Yeah. It's like, yes, I'll do that. At 6 o'clock, you get a message from a customer. Hey, can you help me out with this? Boom, boom, boom. Yes, you get another one. And it's only one of you, and there's hundreds of customers that you got to take care of. So definitely good to set those boundaries and be like, hey, it's treated like a organized business. You're open from 8 to 5, and then that's it. After that, the next business day.
Yeah. People will run you over as much as they can. Like, they will see how far they can go. Like today, so we run the national ads for the window film, right? So we offer this product. It's one size fits all solution. It's $100 cheaper than the actual suppliers that supply it because we don't have all these sales reps and stuff. But we also don't have a customer service line to call. So it's email support. It's super simple. Click buy now, gets to your warehouse, you're done. We kept it as simple as possible. And I get people who comment like, he doesn't want to give his number. And also, what else did they say? I don't know, just stuff like that, right? He's not trustworthy. He doesn't want to give his cell phone number. And I'm like, dude, logically, I'm like, bro, if we have 1,000 people buying product, you think I'm going to give 1,000 people my phone number? And you don't know those lessons. Like back in the day when I would distribute, everyone had my number. Everyone had my number. Anyone could call me. Anyone could text me. Now I have my phone set to like a privacy setting where you can't even get a hold of me if I don't have your number saved. And for the same reason, it's because people will do what they can. People don't know how to manage their time, and they'll call you at 10 o'clock at night needing film the next day. And I imagine video editing, and they're like, Reyes, why is my video not edited? Or why is my YouTube not growing? Because they're on their phone at 11 o'clock at night. So yeah, very valuable lesson. People will run you over as much as they can. But if you know how to set your standards and set that line, people will no longer cross it. Not everyone's the right customer.
Now, another thing, which you nailed it right ahead. Not everybody's the right customer. I know who I'm targeting, which is entrepreneurs who want to jump into social media but don't have a lot of experience. Because I used to take in experienced YouTubers who wanted to outsource their editing. And one thing I noticed about them is they know how to edit. So they expect us to do it as fast as them with all the effects and this and that they do, which is great. But we have a template, and also we don't charge a lot, so we can't take a lot of time on videos. So that's why we target those new entrepreneurs that have no experience on social media. They have no platforms, and I notice we bring the most value to those entrepreneurs, and that's who we target.
Yeah,
so beginner. Exactly. So it's also knowing who do you want to target.
So we actually have almost the same market. It's, we're targeting people who are either like the first 1 to 5 years of their business who want to buy film and don't want to spend $300 for a roll of film when they could buy it for $190. And there's a lot less demands from those a lot less demands from them compared to the guys who are like, give me samples for free, send me everything for free, call me right now. It's like, yeah. So and that's kind of it's kind of a little secret hack, right? Like when you know who to target, your life becomes a lot easier.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Sweet. All right. Moving on to the next question.
No, definitely. So notice that you have 2 other YouTube channels, right? You have your RTE media company, right? And you have your RTE detailing. So what's kind of the purpose behind that? Obviously, you already have a huge channel. Like I could only imagine managing 2 other channels, providing content, kind of just being spread out or spread thin across those 3 channels, I would say.
You're absolutely right, man. And that's something I've been battling with, trying to manage everything, that I've had to take a lot of steps back. But here's the thing. I've been doing this YouTube management for a long time. And I just started introducing Reels management, where I manage short form content for entrepreneurs as well. I've been doing this for 2 years already, really focused on it. The thing is, my main channel, they could care less about the YouTube management. They like the little side hustles, the detailing, the landscape, like you mentioned, the low entry type of hustles. Those get the most views in my channel. Social media management, online business, it doesn't fit my audience. And I've tried making it happen. Low views. I actually lose money when I upload a video about YouTube management. And of course, I used to do something called the Ride Along series, where I follow somebody. The views started going down. I started losing money again. And I'm like, you know what? That may not be the best fit right now. So I had to take a step back. But here's the thing, the YouTube management, you know where I get almost all my clients from? Guess.
The second channel.
No, my main channel still.
The main channel.
Oh, still your main channel. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because people are still looking up how to make shirts, how to start a vending machine business. And of course, in the description and in the pinned comments, I have my YouTube management service. But here's the thing, like you mentioned about tinting that you're not passionate about. I'm not passionate about just trying any hustle anymore. I want to grow a company, and that's my new focus. So I will get back to my main channel, and I'll maybe sprinkle a couple of videos in there. But one thing I noticed was I'm getting most of my audience from my YouTube videos. But since I'm not producing YouTube content on my main channel, I still need to produce other type of content. And most of my clients are detailers. So that's why I started an RT detailing page to bring in detailers to see those detailing videos, but I'm promoting my service on those.
What's wild is with my Facebook marketing, comparing for window film and detailing, the detailing one is outperforming the window film one like by 2x. So I don't know what it is, but there's a lot of money in the detailing market. A lot of people interested in it.
So no, you're absolutely right. There's a huge community, and that's why it made me focus on detailing. Because first of all, low entry. Secondly, everybody's always looking for knowledge, and where do you go? YouTube University. And that's because I've tried ads. I've tried doing free samples. I tried doing Google, reaching out to businesses, and nothing worked except people finding me on YouTube. So that's why I have several channels, but I had to take a step back. I'm mainly focusing on RT detailing because it gets the most views right now, has the bigger potential to bring me in more customers. And I told myself, see, this is where you gotta find that balance, and I'm still trying to figure it out. But I cannot focus on my other platforms until I hire more help, because I'm already spreading myself too thin. So my main focus right now is the RT detailing platforms and my management service. That's it. Not my main channel, not another channel, no other side projects, no other side hustles. And believe it or not, man, once I really laser focus on this, I've never made more money. It's not a lot, but because I'm focused and I'm actually growing it and sticking with it, I'm finding some success on it, man. And it's growing every month.
That's actually something we talk about quite frequently. It's about the focus aspect of how everything works. A lot of times it's not about this crazy new idea that you need to create or this crazy new thing. It's just about, okay, for example, it's related to fitness, right? My goal in fitness is to lose 40 pounds right now, right? So where I messed up the last 5 years is like, oh, you think you can do everything, right? So, I can do a marathon. I can do an Ironman. I can also do a bodybuilding show, because we have this, humans have an overexposed ego. We think we're smarter, we're better, and we're like, oh, we're the main character. But we all have 24 hours in a day. So if you pick one thing and you get really good at that one thing, you're going to get there way faster than everyone else. So that's something that I've definitely noticed, and a great point you made. And you're ahead of me in business. You're older than me as well. So you have a lot more, experience. So seeing that, and I'm like, I'm glad we know it now in our businesses, because if we didn't learn it for another 10 years, you lose a lot of time. So it's like, I told everyone the distribution is the only thing I'm doing for the next 5 years, and we're not touching any other products. No, I don't want to be the Walmart. I want 2 good products, and I want to be known for that. And I don't want anyone to try to convince me otherwise, and to give me new ideas, because I won't listen. I don't want any shiny objects. And so it's interesting what you're saying, because we feel it. We feel the same.
For example, like I told you, I've been doing this management for 2 years. Well, the first year and a half, I was strictly YouTube management. I wanted reels. I wanted to do short form content, but I'm like, you know what? Let me get good at YouTube. Who's my target? How do I make the structure? And once I got it down, I'm like, okay, let me introduce reels. I only started doing reels for the last 6 months. And I wish I would have started sooner, but that's the focus where you're like, this is what I'm going to do. Because the reel is making more money than the YouTube content.
Really?
But yeah, that's the only 2 things I'm doing though.
Wow.
Right. And then the only reason I'm doing my RT detailing, well, first of all, it's YouTube content and short form content. I already got the formula down. But one thing you mentioned, no shiny objects. The other day, I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw a South Park theme page blowing up. And I'm like, oh, it's because it's super niche and a popular show. So I was like, what if I make a Shark Tank social media of other little exciting things? You know what I mean? The motivational, this and that. Doesn't that seem like a good idea? But there I go, bro. Another shiny project distracted me. Because
I'm sorry. Were you still saying something?
Yeah, because it's gonna take me time to do it. 1 or 2 hours. Not a lot, but I could be spending that 1 or 2 hours on my RT detailing or finding new clients for my management service. You know what I mean?
And that'll be the one thing that'll propel you to the next level is, and I just saw a recent podcast about this, how naturally a lot of entrepreneurs are very creative people. So the problem is that creativity and sales and money is not necessarily like correlated. They don't always work well together. You know, like you need to escape out of that, like really high, like creativity. Because again, like last year, I just messed up last year. I was like, I could do so many things at once. Let me put my money in real estate, put my money in the gym, put my money here, put my money there. And at the end, you're like, whoa, I suck at everything. So jack of all trades. And, you know,
master of none.
Yeah. And master of nothing. And so, yeah, it's frustrating because when you finally get that gut, like reality check, you're like, I'm just a normal human and I have natural tendencies to want to be creative. And a lot of entrepreneurs, and like you mentioned, we're too creative and we want to move on to the next sexy object because the accounting's not fun or the editing's not fun. And we're like, oh, well, yeah, this looks cool. And our brain is going to want us to do that just to avoid the hard work of like, oh, no, we got to do the boring stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of my input on that is really focusing on those high leverage activities. How would I put this? The activity that's going to provide the most output with the least amount of energy, right? And really focusing on those things is going to get you to your goal a lot faster. Because, for example, one thing I used to do in the past, I would fill my day with just to stay busy, just random tasks, and just knock out my day. And at the end of the day, it's like you look back and you really didn't accomplish anything besides just random tasks, I would say. And then you keep adding with, like you're saying, random shiny objects. You keep adding to your list and you're really not going anywhere. It's kind of like running on a treadmill, pretty much.
And you can do that at first when you're first starting because you don't know any better. But, like seeing in a big company where they're like, no, we have actual deadlines and we have stuff to do. You're like, oh, well, okay, then let me just do 3 things. So like Andy Frisella talks about the power list, like, do your 5 things. And after you're done with the power list, you're done for the day. You don't have to do 40 hours in a week. You could do, if you finish everything in 3 hours, those 2 or 3 hours can be the most productive hours. You put your phone away and you're focused. You can have everything done. You can move on and do whatever you want with your day as long as your stuff is done. The most important things are done in your day. And that's where a lot of guys, they think they got to work 80 hours a week. It's not even possible. Your mind can't even do that. It's impossible. You could do it for a while, but you're going to feel the mental issues.
Mental drain.
Yeah. Okay. So next question. And I'm sorry for the noise, guys. If anyone's listening from home, we're going to do our best to try to sound everything out. But unfortunately, we have some detailers who still have to work while we're here. So we'll do a little filter on it. All right, guys. So let me edit this part out.
How do you balance your
the vlog?
I mean, how do you balance your life? Well, some of the stuff you already answered.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Reyes, how do you balance your life and work? I am sure you are all over the place or everywhere in your life, right? Especially with the creativity aspect. How do you balance everything?
You know what, man? It takes time, and I'm still balancing things, but it's one of those things that you will never figure out, in my opinion, because things always come up and things always change. For example, I travel a lot, and I like traveling Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But of course, sometimes I travel more. Sometimes I travel less. But I have to find that time to spend with my family. And sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, man, I don't want to say it sucks, but low-key does. I have to put work away and focus on the family. Like, for example, today, I had to take the kids to a dentist appointment. That took 2 hours and out of my day, 2 productive hours that I could have been doing something. And then, my fiance, I love her, but she wants time too. So it's one of those things where I don't have it figured out, but I'm juggling it as best as I can. And sometimes I have to take a hit at work and then catch up on my own. Sometimes I have to tell my girl, baby, I have to work extra. I'll make it up next week. And one of the biggest things that I would recommend for anybody is find that support, but also that communication with not just your family, but yourself, where you tell yourself, okay, I really want to work right now, but can I push it to later to spend that quality time with my family or do something with them? Like, for example, me, I don't hang out with a lot of people. I'll be honest, I'm a loner, bro. I don't have a lot of friends. It's work and family and me time. And me time, it's at the bottom of my list. So it's me work, then some time with the family. And if there's time left over, me time. Hey, but that's why I sit in the toilet for like 30 minutes, all right? Yeah, bro.
Be careful, man, with those hernias. They're real. Were they hemorrhoids? They're no joke.
Hey, but I'm still juggling it. But right now, as far as I know, everybody's happy. Everybody understands my schedule. And we balance it, man. And I try to make it up whenever I can.
So do you feel like you got lucky with the girl you chose, or was it an intentional choice where you're like, oh, she matches my personality, she understands how I am? Because do you think you could be Reyes the Entrepreneur with a nagging wife or a crazy partner?
So I tell the story, baby, if you're listening, I love you. But the first 3 years, she hated the side hustle. Yeah. She hated me having a regular day job, doing screen printing shirts, and YouTube. Doing those 3 things, bro. When am I going to have time for the family doing that? Yeah. And she will say, you're not spending no time with me. I want attention. I want time. What are you going to do about it? And I straight up looked at her in the eye and said, I may not be the right guy for you. You got to go find somebody else that's going to give you that time, because I'm not no regular 9-to-5 person, because that's what she wanted. She wanted me to be Monday to Friday, 9-to-5. She would say, hey, clock out already. Hey, don't take those phone calls. Hey, this and that. But I told her, no, I'm working towards something. Here's the thing. With you or without you, I'm going to keep going. And we'll work something out with the kids. And sure enough, bro, we broke up. We were going to go to court, child support. This and that. No, we went one time because we got to that point where it's like, it's not working out. And it got kind of heated. Yeah. And so we both went to the courthouse to file for child support, for rights. We didn't go through it. Because here's where I did get lucky, bro, with the girl I got. She's the type of person that she'll work it out. I don't know where she gets it from. We will fight. She will go stay at her mom's. 3-4 days later, come back. Let's work it out. 2-3 weeks later, another fight. She would leave, or I would. We went through that a lot, bro.
No, exactly.
Here's the thing. After 3 years, she didn't care about the money. That's one thing I love about my girl. We've been broke together. We've had money together. If I lost everything, she's still with me right there. I got lucky with her with that. But I had to show her how she made me feel when she didn't let me work. And the best way I did it was, I love pushing people to do something. So I'm like, babe, what do you want to do? She goes, I really like acting. We're in Fresno, California. She goes, I'm like, baby, go do it. Okay, the nearest class is in Los Angeles, 3 hours away. I'm like, baby, just to show you how much I support you, go do it. And sure enough, I will watch the kids all day Fridays while running my business. I took that hit, and I'm like, baby, go to Fresno, get a hotel. Here's money for your class. Go do it. It was an 8-week program. After 4 weeks, I'm like, baby, how do you feel about the acting classes? She goes, baby, I love it so much. It's so fun. I feel like I'm working towards something. I'm like, what if I told you I didn't want you doing that because it's taking too much time, too much money? She goes, I will be really sad. And that's when I told her, like a light switch. I told her, that's how I feel when you don't let me work. And she goes, oh my God, baby, I'm so sorry. Because she felt how I felt. And of course, she finished it. And now she's a Zumba instructor. But she knows she has 100% support. Like, for example, yesterday, she wanted me to go film her for her social medias. Mm-hmm. I was busy. But because I want to be supportive, I did it. I'm behind today, but that's how supportive I want to be. But after that, 3 years, 100% supportive. I could be gone for like 2-3 weeks. She wouldn't mind. I could be spending money, hundreds or thousands of dollars on the business. She wouldn't mind. And I do. She supported me, but because I showed her how it made me feel. But it took 3 years, bro, to make it feel like that.
I think an important thing to take here, though, is that you did have to show some social proof in order to gain some trust. Because what if you were still broke 5 years later and still, or maybe still broke, but had showed no improvement? Or if you're like, I'm going to do this, but like, you know, then she catches you on the couch eating bonbons and Takis and like just saying, yeah, I'm going to do it. And so you showed progress. And I think that's also something that maybe she noted. And she's like, well, he is making progress. So,
no, she didn't care, bro. No,
it didn't matter at all.
Even when I started getting viral videos, making tens of thousands of dollars a month, she's like, what about me? Where's my time? And I'm like, babe, we're making a lot of money. She goes, I don't care.
That's how my girl is.
hey, that's a keeper though, bro.
Yeah.
No, definitely.
But it's important too, because like, okay, would we prefer a girl that's like, okay, good job at work today. Can we go get a Gucci bag? It's like, oh, dude, I would have been out of business a long time ago. I know I'll be like, I did X amount of money today. I'm so excited. She's like, okay, yeah. What do you want to eat when you get home? Like, damn, like nothing.
That's nice.
Like nothing at all. Like you don't care. She's like, no. And then we like she'll prefer like the $12 pasta, like over like we went to a $400 freaking restaurant and she was like, she didn't even eat 2 of the meals. She's like, this sucks. I'm like, I'm so sorry. She ended up paying for it.
Oh, okay. I mean, that
not because she's like, I want to get the points on my credit card.
Okay.
And like behind me, I saw these like this girl looked like a gold digger, and I was like, poor guy, dude. Like, I'm like, this is the worst food I've ever had. If this is normal for people, just because they want to like hold some sort of status or show something, I'm like, this is terrible. No, we ended up going to an Italian spot after that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what it is. But my input in this is definitely an internal struggle, I would say. You really want to spend time with your family or your significant other. And even in the corporate world where, like, example, where I work, if you're, the top kind of managing people, you have to stay back. You can't just clock out at 4:30 and go home. You're not leading by example. You're not, showing everybody else that you're there to support them as well. So for me, definitely an internal struggle that I got to like decide and really manage my time really wisely and really get organized when it comes to my calendar and stuff, just to make sure I give time to everybody that's important in my life.
Yeah, because you can't ignore your girl forever. She'll find someone else, like we definitely, I felt bad for Adriana. I definitely was not a good partner for the first 4 or 5 years. And till recently, now I've like, okay, now, and I'm like, damn, she's awesome. What I would have done myself, like.
I'm the same way, bro, because I used to have that mentality that it's my way or the highway. You don't like it, kick rocks. But, and then when she would say something, I used to have a bad habit, like, that's not important. Look what I'm trying to do. I will put myself first. Yeah. But one thing I had to learn was I need to see the value that she does. Because, for example, I work all day. She handles the kids. How many guys are going to be like, bro, you don't do nothing. You're with the kids all day. But once I really start putting myself in her shoes and understanding that, dealing with kids, it's a lot of work. And I'm like, you know what? She needs her props. Even though I'm bringing the money, I'll be honest, bro. She's the glue that's keeping the family together. And if it wasn't for her, everybody will suffer. Me, her, the kids, financially, emotionally. So that's why when my girl says, hey, you're working too much, that's a hint. All right, baby. Let's go. Like, for example, this Saturday, we went to see Felipe Esparza, the comedian.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it ended, bro, I fall asleep at 8. It ended at 11. But she had a great time, bro.
Yeah. You were asleep there at the comedian show?
I was falling asleep, man. I'm like, this isn't even funny, but she was laughing her head off.
Yeah. There's important lessons even from this too, is I guess an important lesson for anyone younger or just starting. I mean, I would say probably a lot younger guys, is careful who you choose, careful.
Here's another thing I want to include in that for all the youngsters out there. If pretty much let it be known what you want to do and how much work it's going to take, and open communicate with your girlfriend or the girl you're talking to. Because before my girl, she's probably going to hate this, but I used to date and all that. I will break up with her.
You had a life.
Yeah, I was a man whore, bro. So, anyways,
we'll edit this out.
Yeah, leave it out. But I used to tell girls like, "Hey, this is what I'm building. You're distracting me because you're asking for too much. I wish you the best." But I mean, whether they want me to be honest, right? And it's better to just cut it off and keep going. But and of course I would jump to another girl and a couple months later tell her the same thing. I used to be bad, bro. Not anymore.
How old were you when you met your girl?
25. I met her when I started the YouTube journey. Wait, I met her a couple months before the YouTube journey. So, and I was working a regular job. So she met me as a 9-to-5 person, you know, but then
change.
Yeah, and that's why looking back, I didn't tell her what I was going to do. I didn't show her how much work it was going to take. She met me as a 9-to-5, and I changed to become an entrepreneur and change my goals. She didn't sign up for that.
Yeah.
And hey, bro, I'm quick. I got her pregnant. And it's kind of like, now we got to figure out this balance.
It's kind of like the terms of service. You got to let them know. It's like, hey, read this.
Yeah.
Back on you.
Yeah,
no, exactly.
Dude, I mean, I wish I would have met her then at 25. I had a lot more experience at that point. I met her we were 20. We weren't even old enough to drink yet. And I was like, dude, it's like 27, something clicked. And, you know, he's only 24. 25. From 20 to 26, I was like retarded. I don't know why. Like, nothing made sense. Like, I was like, what was I thinking? Like 27 is like, whoa, I see clearly now. Like, that's dumb. That's good. And then I was like, oh, okay. So this is how the world kind of works. Where before I was just operating day by day. Now I'm like, damn, like we're already in March. Like I didn't even
know.
Like,
exactly.
You slow down your life a little bit and start to pay attention to other things. But okay, that was a great time. I always find it interesting to see how other relationship dynamics are. Because like you, I don't hang out with a lot of people. I see Daniel from time to time, and mostly our family. So seeing how other entrepreneurs or other high execs, how their relationships are, I'm like, it's almost always very similar. But it's cool to see like the glue that keeps these people together. Like, oh, okay, they're together. Obviously, that's a great partner because if that person holds them to a high esteem, then most likely, you know, you can tell who they are based on who they choose as a partner. A lot of the times. Yeah. All right. So that was a good one.
No, definitely.
We have just a few more.
Just a few more comments. Just trying to pick your brain. But you kind of go and do videos with all these businesses, interact with all these entrepreneurs and stuff. So obviously you have a selected audience already that kind of watches your videos. So the question is do you recommend business for everyone?
It's a good one.
No, because here's the thing. A lot of people want to start a business for the money. And people who do that, in my opinion, will never be successful because, as you guys know, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of mistakes happen, a lot of steps back that you got to do. So the people who I feel will become entrepreneurs, they have a bigger motivation than just the money. Like, for example, me. The reason I chose entrepreneurship, because I hate people telling me what to do, man. And at regular jobs, what do? Tell you what to do 8 hours a day, 5 days. And another thing is, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. I work hard, but I work hard to be lazy. Like all day, I wear shorts, I wear sandals, I wear whatever shirt. This is already faded, but I haven't even shaved, you know? But it's because I like this lifestyle of being able to do what I got to do. And if that means, and the only way I could do that is with my own business. Yeah. And I finally achieved it. And honestly, I don't recommend it for everybody, but I do recommend people to at least give it a shot or at least have a side hustle.
Yeah, I have a lot of I've had a lot of conversations about this. And before I would recommend business, they'd be like, yeah, why would you want to work for the man? Like, I think most people, and like you mentioned, it's hard to take orders. A lot of times there's good leadership, right? There's good leadership exactly. And you want to help and build, and that's where the entrepreneurship goes in, right? How can I help this guy make more money? And by him making more money, the company will make more money. And there's different people for different things. And a lot of times people want to start a business, but they don't have, and this is where the psychological side of the podcast comes in. I love learning about this stuff because like there's different types of characteristics, right? So like you said, like me, I don't do well with people telling me what to do. I do well with people telling me what to do if they have the credentials for it. Like if you've done it, I'm going to listen to you. But if you are showing me, like it's like an alcoholic trying to tell you not to drink. It's like, bro, you drink every day. Like you have to give me some logical, right? So I always loved good leadership because I was like, dude, it was always inspiring to me. But then there's a lot of bad leadership in corporate. And it may not be just one person, it might be the CEO, or it could be the accountant that you don't like, or you're working with a guy that's lazy, he's not doing his stuff. So there's definitely a lot. I would not recommend, I would recommend it for maybe 5% of people, but there are a lot of opportunities for side hustles. Like you said, what's stopping someone from tinting on Saturdays and Sundays? I have a guy who works for the FBI, but he tints on the weekends to pay his house mortgage faster. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. You know, like who would think, you know, but that's an extra $4,000 a month, you know, if
exactly
on a decent month. So where else are you going to make that? But he knows I'm self-aware that I don't have the ability to run a company. I don't want that stress. And if I could go back, I'd probably have like a high-end bit, you know, help build a company that's already doing really well and do window tinting on the side if I could go back, because I would focus on like paying my real estate off first and then jumping into entrepreneurship. But who knows, maybe you wouldn't have had the same energy or ideas. Maybe it was too late. So at least for me, it was the right choice. For others, really, really, really be careful and research the market and everything, because a barber in LA is very different from a barber in Stockton. You know what I mean? Very different.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of my take on that is I'm somewhere stuck in the middle. Obviously, like you were saying, Reyes, that a lot of people do it for the money. You know, like you could have a business be making, people are going to see, oh, this is a $1 million business, but they don't really understand the work and what went into that. But at the end of the day, you know, you have your overhead, you're paying your staff, you're paying your utilities, paying all these expenses, and at the end of the day, you're left with $60K a year. So basically the same as a job, right?
Yeah, a lot of times.
It's a lot of that hard work and really, you know, getting an understanding of how business works and really scaling something. And I feel like if you understand those things, definitely, you know, if your mind works like that, own a business because you're great for it. And then owning a side hustle, amazing. I think that's a good way to just supplement some income, kind of keep you out of that paycheck to paycheck lifestyle and kind of just build towards something, you know, a good investment or something.
Yeah, it'd give you extra. And I had a question, what you guys' thoughts on this are. So I've listened to a lot of like Jordan Peterson. They talk a lot about the psychology of these different types of people, right? So I've kind of pinned, right? Like I've looked at different people in different industries, right? And I'm like, most of the business owners show pretty similar traits that are great for the start of a business, but absolutely terrible for the growth of a business. And those traits I notice are narcissism and what do they call it? Machiavellianism, and also the dark triad, where like they are very selfish. They only think of themselves. And that's perfect for business because you're building that around yourself and you're willing to do whatever you need to do. They end up being successful in the 6 figures, but to get to 7 figures, you cannot operate at that level anymore. You have to play along with other kids and be likable. No, exactly. And what a lot of people say, or I've heard people say this, there's 2 types of thinking when it comes to this. It's profits over people or people over profits. So you got to just, you know, different mindset, because basically what runs your company is the people. Yeah. So you got to make sure you take care of them. What do you think about that?
It's honestly, I don't make 7 figures, so I don't know what it takes to get there, but I've read, seen podcasts that you want people to enjoy working with you. Mm-hmm. And the more they enjoy working with you, the more effort they're going to put into it. And honestly, man, I don't know. I know some good entrepreneurs and I know some bad entrepreneurs. And it's kind of like,
what do you consider a bad entrepreneur?
well, people are quitting them all the time. I feel like that. And then I don't know, man, it's rough. One thing I could say is that one thing I learned the hard way was to stop burning bridges. Even if I didn't like somebody, or even if we weren't a good fit, or even if I don't like their attitude, I stopped burning bridges. Because when I was starting this entrepreneurship, like I said, when I was 18, 19, 20, someone tried to lowball me. I will be like, you know what, man? You're not the right customer. I'm not going to service you. Or someone will be like, hey, can you make this change? Hey, you're too picky. You need to be realistic. You know what I mean? I would tell them my opinion. And I remember one time, this high school tried to kind of not scam me, but quick story. I messed up 3 shirts out of 40 shirts. They're like, hey, you messed up on 3 shirts. Can you replace them? But we're going to keep the shirts you messed up. I'm like, I mean, I could have made them, but why would you like to keep the shirts that I made if you didn't like them? You know what I mean? I felt like they could have let that go. They didn't. And that's when I was like, no, you guys are trying to scam me. So then the principal gets involved. Like, hey, why are you saying we're scamming you? And I explained myself, but one thing I learned in business, it doesn't matter how you feel. It matters how the customer feels. Because one thing I learned, one good customer is going to tell their friends and family about you. One bad customer is going to tell everybody about you. And sure enough, that's town. I never got an order from them. And I was growing. But if I would have kept it cool, if I would have just kept my mouth shut, I could have still got continuous business every year from them. And who wouldn't know who they would have recommended? But that's one thing I learned, that you can't burn bridges. You got to treat people good, even the bad customers, bro. You got to treat them with respect, because you never know who they're going to tell. But when I make 7 figures, bro, we'll come back to this question, all right?
Yeah, and I don't make 7 figures either, but I have been exposed to a couple of guys, like the number 1 biggest shop in LA. He sat down with me and I was like, dude, this guy is already, he's older, he's in his 50s. He didn't have to sit down with me. And part of me thinks it's because I brought Adriana with me. He was like, oh yeah, come sit down. I don't think so, though. He's a really nice guy, but he's a very rich man. And I noticed he's extremely likable. And I was like, I can't be a jackass my whole life. I'm not saying I am a jackass, but you have to be likable.
Let me ask you this. Now that you mention it, I've met and worked with millionaires, a couple. Mm-hmm. They're, like you said, they're likable. Some are too nice, where eventually I found out they're kind of faking it. Have you experienced that?
So with successful people, or with just people in general?
Well, I know people in general fake all the time, but like millionaires.
I only know a handful of millionaires, so I don't have much experience with that.
I only know 2.
Yeah.
One was really nice. He's a real person. The second one, after meeting them, I'm like, hella faking it.
Are they just playing dumb? I get what you're saying. I think a lot of people will play dumb because they don't want to go into the deeper rooted. And that's why we started this podcast too. I want to learn more about how these people operate, because they got there and they're not dumb. They might play dumb. They might play nice, but they might be sharks in the back end, and that is very true, but they know how to play the game. And that's why I was saying it ties into narcissism and those dark triad traits. And I'm telling people, I didn't start getting good at business until I started learning about psychology and how and why humans act the way we act. And I was like, oh, that's why I was acting that way, is because of this issue that happened back in the day. And now I have to resolve it in order to move on. But yeah, a lot of those really successful people, they're a bit psychotic. They know how to play the system, and they know it's just a game, right? It's just like, everyone starts at level 0, and how do you get to level 1 million? You just have to know the cheat codes and how to work the system. And that's really where I see entrepreneurism.
And one thing I've learned, not with millionaires, but I work with a lot of 6-figure entrepreneurs, and you could really tell what type of person they are by the people around them. Like, for example, the nice millionaire has nice people around him. Like, I've talked to them, this and that. the bad millionaire, it's kind of like, what can I get from this person by being nice type of stuff. And then the people around them, the same mentality where it's like, hey, we need you for this, but once we don't need you, goodbye.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
They use people.
Yeah. And
because they know how to play the game.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
How do you identify that?
True. So kind of my take on that, I went to a whiteboard party event in LA about 2 weekends ago. It was a whiteboard party for Absolute Airflow. The owner is really cool. He had this networking event, kind of everybody shows up, bunch of HVAC companies. And, you know, going back to the ego stuff, I could definitely see that in him. He's great with people, really cares about them. But when he hosts these events, it's all about him. You know, he has a camera crew behind him, just kind of like you're saying, not being fake, but just being overly nice when you know that's really not him. Because, you know, the content he posts out there, he's aggressive. He wants to get stuff done. But at these events, you could definitely tell kind of hey, it's about me. You know, I have a whiteboard of my face on here. I got to take pictures with everybody. It's just kind of like the event's about him.
Yeah.
But with that, I mean, I haven't really experienced anyone that's, you know, overly the top, especially with these, you know, bigger companies, but I could definitely see that happening.
I think you kind of have to play dirty. I don't think there's a way. And I used to be like, no, I mean, okay, here's the thing. Here's a good example. Nick Baird. I don't know if you follow him. I've been seeing you've been training a lot lately. You should check out his channel. He's a huge inspiration of mine. We actually carry his products next door. Seems nice. I said kind of like you get what you get, but sometimes I'm wondering like, what's his bad attitude like? Mm-hmm. So like I kind of like the more raw and authentic. Like I post a lot of raw and I bitch a lot in my YouTube channel, and I know I shouldn't, but at least people know what they're gonna get with me. You know, they're like, I'm like, man, this fucking customer, like, but I don't hide anything because there's nothing to hide. I want to learn how other humans are. So a part of me is like, would I have more subscribers if I wasn't that way? Probably.
Definitely.
So you kind of learn that you have to play the game.
And you know what, man? I'm playing the game. I like being nice. If you met me in real person, you'll know that this is really me. But I cuss and I make some not so funny jokes every now and then, you know, this and that. But when you're on camera, you kind of have to be the best self that you could be in front of the camera. But also, well, for example, YouTube, this is what I tell my clients, you can't be controversial. Nowadays, controversial kills half your audience because either half are going to agree with you or half are not. And you have to walk that fine line of how can you say what you want to say without offending somebody? But I mean, nowadays, you know, you see all these people being extra controversial and they're getting millions of followers. But that's where you have to ask yourself, am I doing it because I want to get the views, or is this really who I am and want to be? Me? Right. This is who I really want to be. I will never talk about controversial stuff because I don't want to be that type of person. But that's just me.
So who did you vote for?
See, I want to talk about that.
No, of course not.
Sometimes I go record somebody and they're talking dookie about a president, whichever one. And I'm like, oh, yeah, bro. So how's the job coming along? I switch the topic real quick.
You are very, very well. Of course, I mean you're an entertainer. You have you know your audience, and that's the thing. Is a lot of and that's something I'm trying to learn now. But I'm learning when I was watching one of my favorite podcasters. You notice how they talk. And when we started filming our first few videos, I was like, I say like a lot.
Yo, same with me. I'm like, so you got to work on that stuff. It's like,
and then you start paying attention to these cues. And then you start to learn. So again, like I think what's important here, and I think we're both kind of on that same trail of like, how do we go from 6 figures to 7 figures? How do you correct all of this stuff? Because if you keep being this person, it's not going to take you. Obviously, it hasn't worked for the last 10 years, or it did work to get you to where you are now. But if you want to get to the next level, there's a lot more learning you have to do. And those guys are just ahead. But I've also seen the really successful millionaires that become millionaires in their early 20s, they go through a lot of like psychotic breaks. So like one of my favorite, and I'm not going to mention his name, and still one of my favorite guys, he has way too much on his plate, and you could see it in his videos. He's stressed out, he's tired, but he's made millions of dollars too fast. And that's why he's burning through it, because he doesn't know how to hold on to it. So I don't know if that ties into what we're talking about right now, but.
So I could relate to that, because the reason why I'm able to manage the money and the business, because in my early ages, and I had to go through it, and so do people, I got successful too quick. For example, on the eBay, you know how I told you that was my first real business that I was making several thousands of dollars a month. And I was like, man, I'm good at this. I'm an expert, this and that. But of course, I did it the wrong way. I didn't know how to manage the money, because the money was coming in. Oh, I was spending it as soon as it hit the bank account. And pretty much saying that you kind of have to go through those failures, through those stress. So later you could do better. And the best example I could give you guys, and maybe some people will relate or not, is you ever seen those couples that get married in high school and then divorced in the mid-20s or later 20s, and then they go all wild, like clubs, drinking? For example, me and my girl, I feel we're meant for each other, because we went through our whole stage in our early 20s, got that out of our system. Now we know, because we went through people, you know, that, hey, it's hard to find somebody. It is like, for example, me and my girl, we tell each other, I don't want to start a new relationship because I don't want to go through the whole drama, figuring them out, having to go through the whole phase of who are they? Why are they with me? Yeah. And also what takes them? Like, now I know my girl, like if I toot too loud, I know she's going to get pissed. You know what I mean? But
that's an ick of mine too, right there. Like, I'm like, Ali, close your mouth.
Yeah. And, but see, like entrepreneurship, this is how I'm going to tie it in. You have to go through those things to figure out who you are and what you want. Yeah. So like if you become successful, like for example, I'm really glad that I didn't blow up when I was 21, because I was doing YouTube for fun, but I was an asshole, bro. And my mentality was different, where I said rude things. I said things that now I'm like, what a fucking dumbass. Flip that out, you know? But imagine if I would have gotten millions of followers when I was at that stage.
Your ego would have been through the roof.
Exactly. Yeah. So honestly, I'm grateful. Even though I'm 32, I'm not a millionaire. I'm very happy where I'm at in life, because like I mentioned earlier, I'm enjoying the journey, and I have my family that's happy. We do everything we want. I mean, I can't complain.
Yeah. What color is your Bugatti? I'm sorry.
My Honda Civic, gray, bro.
Okay, so this was one that I made, right? Yeah. So, okay, this could be many things, but why do you think most businesses fail?
So, here's the thing: it's hard running a business. It's stressful. It could take a toll on people, but I feel a lot of businesses fail because they quit and they didn't want to improve themselves. That's one thing I learned about business. It's not just about the business, it's about who's running the business. And another thing is they're not open-minded to new ideas, new marketing strategies, new techniques, or heading into a new direction. And I don't know, maybe business, I could see how it could wear people out, you know, but a business could fail just because they don't have enough customers, or maybe they grew too fast. Pretty much, I feel like a business fails when they run out of money and they can't get any more money.
Yes.
Because I mean,
which could be many.
Exactly. Is it because your product isn't good? Is it because you don't have good customer service? But you see how you have to figure those out, and there's nobody telling you what you're doing wrong, or will work for somebody might not work for somebody else. And it's kind of like, do I want to go through that headache? Like I said, the only reason why I want to grow my business is so I could be lazy, do what I want. But honestly, bro, if I had like $1 million and my business was running on autopilot, bro, I wouldn't get out of bed.
I have a hard time believing that you would go crazy having nothing.
I have to do something.
Yeah,
I have to do something.
Why is that flower not perfectly? Let me go fix it. Yeah, like and like I see it with my parents. They can retire for years. They're teachers, and they have a lot of money. They have, they're very successful. And right now they're like doing a backyard project. I'm like, don't you guys ever get tired of like doing projects? Like, no, I can't just sit there. I'll go crazy. So I think it is true. I mean, it all ties in together.
So in my situation, when I was 20, maybe 21, that's when I started the detailing business. And I mean, good thing I did, because I went in there blind. So obviously no help, nothing at all. Online, just Googled everything, YouTubed everything. Okay, what requirements, what licenses? Oh, I got to file with the state, the Secretary of State, right? And just learning all these processes, and then actually getting into it. You could go in there like unprepared. You have to be organized. Customer service, you got to book the leads, you got to set the schedules. There's so much that goes on, especially starting out. It'll burn you out, because at the time I was going to school, 13 units for school, full-time job, and doing detailing as much as I could. So it was just me and my brother just knocking this stuff out as long as we could, until I made that decision. It's like, hey, I can't continue this. I got to look other options. And that's where I went. Before we started the recording, I was talking about how I couldn't see a way to scale this. You can get no staff because level of entry is so low. Anybody can pick this up and go start doing it. So that's where you really got to think and be like, okay, lay it out on a piece of paper and pros and cons, and pick your best option, pretty much.
And ignorance is bliss.
Oh, yeah.
If I did not know what this was going to take. I did not know. I seriously, I think about it. So I'm like, what? I'm like, well, I don't know if I would redo this again. I'm like, I don't know. I missed out on 4 years of college being wild. I missed out on partying a lot. I missed out on a lot of things. So I'm like, it better work? Better fucking work, because I can't rewind that.
You're too deep.
Yeah, dude. That was a hard one for me. I'll put my input on the why I think businesses fail. I think that if you had a simple business course, right? Like how to literally set up a business, licensing, how to run Facebook ads, how to run Instagram ads, how zoning works, how all that stuff works. Problem is, like you said, not everything fits, right? Like what works for a pet groomer might not work for a detailer or a tinner. So yeah, man, it's just how much BS can you tolerate? That's why I finished the Ironman that I did, not because I was trained for it, because I was just stubborn, bro. I was like, this fucking hurts, man. And I was just like, okay, can I zone out and just do it for another 2 hours? Yes. Can I get through another 5 minutes? Yes. Okay, then keep going. And I think you have to develop the mental toughness. I think the only reason I survived in business is because I was an athlete. I went through a lot of mental toughness growing up. I've been playing sports since I was a kid. And then I went to bodybuilding, which took 4 months of discipline. That just happened to be right when I started the business. I finished my bodybuilding show, 4 months of discipline, 4 months of kind of psyching myself out and listening to all these podcasts and stuff. And then I went into business. So I was like, that if I wouldn't have done that, if I would have been unhealthy and not really been mentally okay, I don't think I would have lasted. I really
I feel you on that. And kind of, I'm the same way, where the reason I'm able, and I'll be straight up honest with business, it's stressful, time consuming, very insecure with income. And you deal with a lot of people, good, some bad. But the reason I'm able to deal with all of this is because, like I mentioned earlier, I started when I was younger, but because I didn't have a lot of money, I started small. And I would get a couple customers, and that kind of trained me on how to deal with people. Imagine if you just start a business day one and you have 20 customers, that will make anybody quit. But because we built that mental toughness of how to handle customers, how to balance our schedules, we're able to deal with it. But because we already developed the mental toughness of it, like you mentioned.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought of another question, but I want to finish these first. I'm sorry I know it's taking a while.
No, get it, man. I got all night.
This is a random one, but I experienced it. So I think that we're all prone to addiction, right? So I was addicted to food and like stress. So I was stressy. So I would get home and then I would like, either do you want a pizza? And then we just like go get a pizza, and I would stress eat.
Yeah.
And I know I'm a very addictive type of personality. Like if I would have gone to college, I may have been a cokehead, bro. Like I don't know. Like I get addicted to things. So it's like if I do something, I do it to the max. And this is a terrible trait. Good for business, terrible for other things. And I notice a lot of business owners that I know, when they go through the slow seasons, they go straight to addiction. I knew a guy who passed away. He was addicted to like back pain medicine. I know another guy, he's addicted to alcohol. I know another guy, pornography, and they had to fucking go to a psychologist for pornography. And so I noticed that I think a lot of businesses fail because they also dive way too deep into that. They get into the addictions and they don't know how to get out. So I think that doing therapy from like a young age is good, so you can understand why you have those issues and then what those coping mechanisms are that keep you in that loop. And if you can't solve that, your business will never grow and you might fail. And
definitely, man. You know what? You're right about entrepreneurship, because I've noticed ever since I started, I have an addictive personality. For example, I don't have no games on my phone, because I'll spend 2 hours in the toilet playing Flappy Birds or this and that, because I want to grow something. I want to, make progress. I remember one time I was addicted to going to the casino for a couple of weeks.
I know a guy who lost his entire business because of that.
Yeah. And you know what though? But like you mentioned, you gotta figure yourself out. And I'm the type of person that if I start something, I feel like either I have to finish it or be the best at it. And with blackjack, I was playing blackjack and I was winning, losing, but it was just how good can I get? How big can I grow it? And I told myself I wanted to quit. I'm going to put all my money on the table and I'm going to play until I lose everything. And when I lose everything, I'm walking away. And sure enough, I walked away. The same thing with, like for example, right now, I don't know if you guys are into the whole streaming thing. There's a lot of good shows out there, but I'm the type of person that I can't watch a show because, for example, a couple years ago, you guys ever watched The Sopranos? Do you know what it is?
I know the show, but I've never watched it.
Yeah.
It's like an Italian family.
Yeah, the mafia. Anyways, it's a really good show. 7 seasons, 24 episodes, 1 hour each episode. And that was when the YouTube money started coming in. So I'm like, let me get HBO. I took 2 weeks out of work to finish the whole 7 seasons. And I was like, I could never. And even to this day, there's shows I want to watch. I'm like, I can't even get into them. And that's how I am, man.
Okay. So I
2 weeks.
I've identified. So I've been to therapy and I've identified these things. And now I know the triggers. So now I know when I'm like, my mind starts going somewhere, I'm like, okay, why is it going that way? What's the actual problem I'm avoiding? Oh, it's that 45-minute edit I got to do.
I talked about the shiny new social media I want to make with Shark Tank. I start thinking, why do I want to do that? Oh, because what I'm doing is becoming boring. So, but I'm like, I got to tough it out. And I'm the type of person that I'd rather not start something because it keeps me focused. Because once I get started, I find excuses to do it.
Right. Exactly.
Like a rabbit hole.
Yeah, like the German Shepherd, they talk about it, Bedros. So like if the dog doesn't have a purpose, especially a German Shepherd, they start digging holes in the backyard. And that's the holes of the addictions and the alcohol, the smoking, whatever it may be. Okay, that was just something I was curious on.
Hey, give me 1 quick second. Someone's knocking, but I'll be right back.
I'm over to the restroom.
We're renters, bro. Oh, renters. Yeah. those fucking solar power people, bro, knocking like the fucking police.
Yeah, I know how it can be, bro. That's why I have our whole security system is set up so they just walk away now.
What do you got?
Vivint, so it'll like whistle at them, and then I'll just be like, "Oh, sorry, I'm not home," and then they walk away.
But what if it's like a family member knocking?
Oh, well, I can see them on the camera.
Oh,
So it's like a quick little home security. $3,000 though. So
we got the blink, which is just a simple blink camera in the front, is around the house.
Oh yeah.
And I could have seen it, but I'm like, but he was knocking so hard, I thought it was an emergency.
He's like, I noticed your house doesn't have solar panels. Do you have a 3?
And right away, I'm like, we're renters. Because I know they don't fuck with renters, bro.
Dude, yeah, it's but I bet you that guy is so good at taking no's.
He looked like, you know who he looked at? Like those jocks in high school, you know, above confidence, this and that. That's who he was.
Yeah. Hey, but if you get 100 no's, you're gonna get 1 yes.
Well, he got a no from me, bro. I ain't nothing.
I hate when people are like, "Hey, one said no, but there's still 99 more chances. Let's go."
Hey, I don't want to seem like a jerk, but I'll close the door in their face, bro. Like when church people come and be like, "Hey, can we talk?" I'm sorry. You know, I can't, bro.
You have time to talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? I'm like,
I'll be like, no, I'm doing a podcast right now. I'm sorry.
Right now.
No, I don't believe in God. No, it's like, no, I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. This is a good one. I know you don't talk about controversial things, but maybe we can keep it kind of broad. What are your thoughts on the gurus and also charlatans? So both kind of similar. I know you probably seen like CoffeeZilla's content, right? Okay, so what's your opinion on this?
On what? On the type of people like that? The gurus?
Like what do you? Because again, like when people start in business, they look for people to listen to, right? And they look for advice. A lot of times they get the ads from a lot of gurus, a lot of charlatans.
Mm-hmm.
I guess a more direct question is, I don't know how to direct this because there's multiple ways to go around this. What's your thought on a charlatan or a guru?
You know what, man? That first of all, here's the thing. If someone's selling you a dream, they're trying to sell you a course. Mm-hmm. But I feel like some people are going to get scammed. They're going to get duped. And hopefully they'll learn from that experience. For example, me, I know because I've grown a business, it's not as easy as people say. Like, for example, my competition is YouTube automation. A lot of people want to do YouTube automation. They don't want to be in camera. They don't want to do the editing. They just want to own the channel. I don't do that. But I follow people who are like, hey, make $10,000 in your first month with YouTube automation. And I go click on them. And sure enough, they got like a $5,000 course. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like, but some people are going to fall for it. And
doesn't it kind of piss you off that, like, for example, I have a course, Windows 10 Hacks, right? I sold 2. Even though it has over 100 like hour or videos that are like real business experience. But because I'm telling people it's hard, it's not easy. You're going to have to like actually learn a skill, learn marketing, learn Google Ads. And I spent literally a year building it, sold 2 of them. And I'm like, these assholes are selling a dream or selling fear.
Exactly.
And they're making money. And I'm over here ethically selling this shit. And I don't get rich. You know, it's like.
Mm-hmm. But you know what, man? A lot of people want to be sold a dream. And in my opinion, there's nothing we could do except let them get their hearts broken, spend money. Hopefully they don't spend a lot. Because trust me, I've been wanting to make videos, calling out all these YouTube gurus that, for example, there's a 15-year-old who has 10 channels, 10 play buttons, but he doesn't show you what channels he's built. And the reason why he says he can't show the channels is because he doesn't want competition. No. Because I build channels, and this doesn't matter how many people jump into the niche. It matters what kind of content you produce. But that's his easy way of saying, just trust me. Yeah. And he's scamming people, but what am I gonna do, bro?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's kind of like that. Trust me, bro. But what I don't understand is like, you have a 20-year-old who probably made millions of dollars selling this course. They're 22 years old, 21, 20, whatever, and giving you all this experience and knowledge. It's like, they probably just started, or they figure out, or a lot of people, what they do, they'll just copy someone else and kind of, it's like a pyramid down the line, just copying the same, regurgitating the same information. It's like nothing new. But yeah, hundreds of people fall for this stuff. And like you're saying, they're selling a dream. And a lot of people just buy on emotion. They buy on a feeling, like they want to feel like they want to make it. And that's where they kind of, the psychological part of stuff kind of plays in. They want to feel important. They want to dream. They want to move towards something better.
Selling fear.
FOMO,
yeah,
exactly.
selling fear. If you don't do that right now, you're saying take your money out of banks, or all the real, everything is crashing. And I'm like, bro, my best day of the year was today. And everyone else is freaking out. And I'm like, okay, but I'm like, if I was just a little bit unethical, I could make a lot of money. I'm like, I can make a lot of money, dude. Like,
yep. And
you know what? There's karma. There's some form of karma, or it's not long term.
All right. So one thing I noticed is that, first of all, social media behind the scenes, everybody fakes their numbers because big numbers look good on social media. Secondly, here's the thing. You can't blame a guru for selling a course because there's people who just want the information. For example, I manage social medias. I've had a lot of people be like, Reyes, do you have a course where I could just get the knowledge? I don't want your service. I just want the information. Of course, I don't do that because I do free 99 knowledge. But I can't really blame the gurus because there's a want for that information. They just present it in a certain way where they're selling a dream. People are buying it. It's ruthless out there, man. It's cold-blooded, but there's nothing we could do.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing we have guys like CoffeeZilla.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. This is a more personal one. How's your fitness journey going?
This is one of those battles that I've been battling my whole life. Talking about addiction, this is one of my biggest struggles because it's really hard for me to quit the lifestyle I grew up with, which is, eat a big bag of Doritos whenever I wanted, eat processed food whenever I wanted. My mom worked hard. She came here from Mexico in 1999. She worked in the fields, graveyard to make sure we were good. But Mexican household, you're not really focused on health. You're more focused on grinding, making money. But yeah. And you know what, man? It's one of those battles. And I'll be honest, I've lost weight before, but I'm a yo-yo weight loss person where I go down, next week I'm back up. And I don't know what to do, Julio.
We could talk off camera for that one. That might be a long conversation, but I could assist you with that.
But you know what? You know what's one thing I noticed that's one of my triggers? Is No, not stress. It's my environment. It always has. Like, for example, the reason I'm a loner is because if I hang out with people who are chilling, I'ma want to chill. If I hang out with people who want to go out, I'ma want to go out. If I chill with people who want to eat, I'ma want to eat. Like, it's very hard for me to go to a restaurant and now order whatever I want because there's people around me ordering whatever they want. Man, it looks so good. But that's one thing I gotta figure out, man.
Have you ever heard of the third person theory on weight loss and why the world is so overweight right now?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna butcher it, but essentially, and I found it so interesting because it was like, okay, if I lose weight, right? Someone that Daniel knows, a third person, is going to lose weight because I'm going to trickle off and give him good vibes. He's going to be like, he's in shape, so I'm going to get in shape. And then this third person I don't even know is now in shape because Daniel's in shape, and we don't even have to have a connection. So the third person theory is that everyone that knows someone, and if they have good habits or bad habits, they're passing it on to the next family or the next people. So really the epidemic that we have is because, for example, if you hung out with all 10 guys and all of them are like, put that shit, like get it out of your mouth. No, we're going to go on a fucking run and we're going to do good shit. Let's go on a hike. No alcohol.
David Goggins.
Yeah. Like just hung out. If all you did was hang out with people like that, you're going to be fit regardless if you want to or not. And then your wife and then your children and then their friends. And then it's just like this constant cycle. So you're right. It is who you hang out with. And that's why I had to stop hanging out with some people recently, because every time we hang out, it's alcohol, a lot of food, a lot of snacks. And then I'm like, it's like a crackhead. Don't put it in front of me, you know, which I know I have to learn to control, but it is hard. I think while you're in the weight loss phase, you do need to somewhat isolate yourself or only hang out with a certain type of people. Otherwise, you're going to be, like you said, in that yo-yo, up and down and up and down. And like I told Daniel, like I spent 6 hours on the cardio machine this week. I'm not going to drink that beer, you know, like, or if you are, it's like, do you have the control to just have one? Nope. That's tough.
Exactly. And yeah, going back to what you were saying about hanging out with the right people, it's like, you want to hang around with people who want to succeed, who want to excel in life, and just really pick up, like Julio's saying, if everybody's talking about business, eventually you're going to pick that up and now you're going to be interested, invest a little bit of time, leads to more time, leads to one goal, next goal. And now before you know it, you're like, speaking their language, doing whatever it might be, and just, becoming successful that way. So definitely, the people who you hang around with are definitely, how would you just say it? Really important. Like,
how do you balance though, like not being a prude and not being boring? That's what I've battled with. Like, how do I, like, say, if I had a perfect lifestyle, I'd be like, get up at 4 a.m., hit the gym, go to the work, do all the things I have to do, only hang out with certain people. But then I'm like, am I missing out on some things? Like I missed out on a birthday or on this event or on that. So I'm like, at some point you have to learn control.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can't completely turn off your life. And that's what I've struggled with.
That's what I struggled with too, man. It's, I noticed I do really well when I'm by myself at home. But when I'm traveling or I'm at an event, I give myself an excuse, a reason to just eat. Yeah. And I guess I might have to go to therapy, or I got to figure something else out, bro. But here's the thing. I'm trying, man. I'm not trying to solve it tomorrow. I'm trying. And my girl helps me out a lot. She preps meal. She's a Zumba instructor. So like you mentioned, it's kind of rubbing off on me because she goes to the gym. Hey, let me go to the gym.
Oh, yeah.
Treadmill desk.
Huh?
The treadmill desk. I don't know if you've seen my setup. I have a treadmill desk. Sounds funny, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have
it's a $300 treadmill, and it's fucking awesome. You imagine you burning calories, you're not even thinking about it
while you're editing.
Yeah, yeah. But best $300 ever spent. All right, so we'll wrap it up here with the last question. So what's next? Do you have any upcoming project plans for the future? I know we talked about the detailing, but where do you, I guess we can make it a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself when you're 32, right? 33? 32. Where do you see yourself when you're 45?
Hopefully lazy in my mansion, bro. Doing whatever I want, going wherever I want. But my next goal, which is my only goal, nothing else, is people know me because I do side hustles. Well, I want to go to the 7-figure. I want to be that millionaire entrepreneur. And hopefully it's this management service. But my biggest struggle right now is keeping it affordable. It's honestly cheap, but being able to scale. Because the only reason I'm able to offer these cheap prices is because I'm doing most of the work myself. But if I were to hire somebody, there goes all my profit. But I don't know what else. I don't want to do anything else because I already put 2 years into this. I'm barely getting known. I barely got my first customer who doesn't know me. He's like, hey, I heard about you. So that tells me I'm going in the right direction. But how do I scale this? And I've made that mistake where I hire a camera person, a full-time editor, and a content manager to run the business. but I quickly saw that I wasn't bringing enough business and charging enough to keep those employees. So I let 2 of them go and one went part-time, but that's where I'm struggling at. But I mean, I have to figure it out. And this part of entrepreneurship where I don't have the answers, and I'm going to be trying so many different, like right now, I have an editor here in America. I really didn't want to do this, but I'm starting to reach out to other editors in other countries because they're cheaper.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to play out though, because the issue with having people overseas is that I don't have that fast turnaround time that I will have. Like my full-time editor, I send her video right now. She'll have it ready in 30 minutes or an hour. I send that video overseas. I'm not going to get it for like 2 days.
Well, they're asleep too.
Exactly. Like right now, I'm trying out somebody from the Philippines. Mm-hmm. When it's 7 p.m. here, it's 6 in the morning over there. When are we going to work together?
Yeah.
You know?
At 7, 8, 9 at night for you?
Like I told you, I'm already turning on my phone, bro. I'm done for the day.
That's what I mean. It's impossible.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I literally had this conversation with her yesterday. I'm like, hey, I want to work with you. You're at the right price point that I'm looking for, but I can't seem to work with you together, because what I do with my editors, because it's virtual, I jump on Zoom to guide them through the edit. Because here's the thing. One thing that really helps me out is we do the videos together so we can make the changes in real time. Because if I send it to them, they send it back, and then I ask for revisions, and then they take another day, and they messed up on this. No, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But
it definitely, I don't have any ideas off the top of my head of how you would, I mean, essentially it'd just be more clients, increasing profit, and just really breaking down the accounting of it.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. And really implementing like really good systems as well. Like you were saying, you have a template, and that's the template you like to follow. Break that down even farther, figure out a good way to get more leads. And once you have sufficient customers that are bringing you revenue, and you're able to afford someone in the States, and that's able to provide you that real time edits, working together, you're going to be able to develop these videos faster, which in time leads to more time for other customers. So just getting to that point, and I think you're on the right track when you're talking about that, is just getting the right system and processes and trying different things out and figuring out what works. And then from there is just scaling, figure out the basic foundation and then just copy and paste every single one.
That's a fairly new business. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about that before.
No, and I'm the only one doing it, because I mean, you go hire an editor, you go hire people to post for you, but where can you hire an experienced YouTuber to manage everything for you?
Yeah.
But I thought about it. And like you mentioned, I broke it down. So I need to be making at least $20,000 a month consistently, because like you said, I'm going to hire one main person in America to manage other accounts, but he's going to be managing other editors. But I need an office. I need to pay him. I need to pay the other editors. And of course, the other expenses. At $20,000, I break even. And right now, I'm making about 10 to 15. So I'm right there. But once I hire somebody at 20,000, I break even. Then I need to hustle to get more clients. But you guys know, like in business, I go have this game plan. That doesn't mean I'm gonna bring in more business if I have more time. That was my mistake when I hired a whole team, and that's how I know it takes 20,000, because that's what I was paying every fucking month, bro. I'm like, oh, it's gonna free up my time, and then I'm gonna focus on getting new clients. But not everybody wants to jump on YouTube. You know what I mean? And another thing is, I battle with those cheap editors that other people use. Because you could go on Fiverr, hire someone for $10, $20, So I really have to. And that's why I took a step back. I let go of my employees. And now I'm proving the concept that if you come into my management, I could help you grow. But I'm still at the early stage where I don't have those results yet. Like, for example, for one of my detailers, I brought him in when he came to me when he had 1,500. He's about to hit 60,000 subscribers. He makes a full-time income. But that's one guy, because he has a personality and he believes on social media and he trusts me with the content. So there's a whole formula to it, because not every detailer I work with hits those numbers.
I'm almost wondering if maybe it's less clients, but more volume with the current customers you have.
Here's the thing though. I can't scale everybody.
That's true.
And a lot of people fall off. Like, I work with about 24 entrepreneurs. I only got like 3 that are getting my service, and 2 of them, they're losing money with the content. And I'm being straight up. Like you mentioned, I could sell you a dream, but I'm telling you, no. Like, for example, Hunter, which is my main detailer, 60,000. The first month, I charged him $2,000. He lost $1,600 because he only made 400 from his YouTube channel. And luckily, he's like, Reyes, let's try another month. Next month, $3,000 he made. So he finally, but look, how many people will continue after losing 1,600, you know?
Yeah.
And he got lucky because he had a personality. Yeah. Other people don't have a lot of personality and they don't even grow a lot. And that's just another thing I'm battling with. And that's why I charge so low, because almost all my clients, and I'm going to just say it out there, man, because I don't sell dreams, they're losing money. Yeah. But if they believe in social media and they're able to tough it out, then they will be successful. But it takes a couple months, man. I don't know. Sometimes, I kid you not, sometimes I'm like, is it even worth doing it? Because it's such a hard business.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it from like an aerial perspective, and why, like, personally me, like, I don't plan on being in the tinting cars in the next, by October 25th, 2025 is when my lease ends. And I'm like, I got to be completely self-sufficient in other ways, because I can't keep doing this because of the seasonality aspect, where I'm like, I have money for half the year and then the rest of the year I'm broke. It's like, that's not a good way to live. And I don't know. That's why I look at it from like an aerial perspective, and I look at like, okay, what would a 7-figure guy do? You know, like, what would they do? And then I'm like, okay, well, that gives me another, you know, like, if I had an older brother who was like, bro, you're fucking up, here's what you have to do. Like, try to focus on like how to look at it from, again, but that's how I look at it from my perspective, from my business. And that led me to my distribution, what I do now. But one of the reasons, like, even when you offered me to work together for the YouTube channel, the main reason wasn't the pricing, it was, I don't want to identify with window tinting forever. So I was like, I don't want this to be like, I looked at who was ahead of me. I'm like, okay, this guy's 100,000 subscribers, like a big channel in my industry. And I'm like, I can't even sit through 5 minutes of his video. And so I was like, can I do that for the next 10 years or 15 years? So I was like, how can we, and then, you know, part of this, what you're seeing now is that pivot. But the pivot, we're not expecting to make any money on this for like a few years. I don't even think we've talked about money.
Yeah, right. We just go ahead and make videos and record and just do whatever and just kind of let it be and run them through YouTube, Reels, short form videos. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're just hustling pretty much.
Yeah. But it's exciting to see, because I think we're both at similar areas. We're like, what's next? You know, what is next? Because, you know, we're not alive forever. And like, seeing my parents retire at 54, I'm like, they weren't expecting, you know, for it to go that fast. And a lot of people, like, especially business owners, they don't think about retirement or even like vacations. Like, can you self-sustain? And it's like, well, what am I doing that's different than the guy who's making, you know, 10 million a year, 50? I always look at like Alex. I'm like, I don't think Alex is smarter than us. I'm like, I think he's just very self-aware.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he's very self-aware of what he's good at and opportunities in the market. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I don't know. That's my way of wrapping this up, I guess.
Hey, we'll figure it out though. We have to.
Well, I think we would love to have you on the channel again, maybe with some updates. Maybe we can cover different topics. But yeah, dude, this was fun. I really enjoy it. And yeah, do you have any ending I mean, how much time did we? 2 hours.
2 hours and some change. But no, Reyes, thanks so much for, joining us today and really, providing that insight of what it takes, to run a YouTube channel, kind of be ins and outs of YouTube and really where that's taking you in life. And I think that's really awesome for some people to really hear that and, take some notes or, take some information from what you just talked about and really go out and start doing their own thing, or maybe even hit you up for services, whatever that might be, or whatever that might look like. Yeah,
our channel is it's almost at 9,000 subscribers now, and I really have not put effort into it. So like we're going hard now. It's hard because this is window tinting stuff. But thank you guys again for watching. If you made it this far into the video, it'll be on Spotify, all the Apple Podcasts, and also on YouTube. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and we had a lot of fun making it. So hopefully we have Reyes back on the channel eventually. And hopefully I can be like, hey, dude, we have a lot more subscribers. And we, definitely will look into, as we start making, I think we're making like $400 a month on YouTube right now. So I want to be able to afford your services and take it to the next level. I would like to see this get to 1 million subscribers.
What channel? The window tinting channel?
So the brand is now Julio Esteban Jr. And then this is like, so where I've kind of moved the channel to is more of like a media source. I think that's where like our vision is like, I have a third car garage, right? And I want to build it into like this cool, like leather vintage, like cigar room style podcast, talk to people in different fields, but also show like, hey, like I want to move to Europe in 6 months, or in October 25th and show people, document that. But really it's hard because, I'm not super interesting to watch. I really like documenting other people's, or not documenting, but interviewing other people. So I would like to have people like, like Jordan Peterson, Michaela Peterson, David Goggins, all those type of like high performing people, authors of books that we've read. And, people love to talk to new people. So being able to, I guess, do that would be cool. I don't know. I don't want to compare it to like Dr. Phil, but it sounds like just learning essentially. And I think this new wave of entrepreneurship is very different from what it was when we started. And a lot of it's like raw, authentic. People want to see a human side. And I think that's going to be interesting to see. So that's what we're focusing on, is finding people that we find interesting, and hopefully other people find it interesting as well. So the brand is Julio Esteban Jr., but I've even thought about, I want to get your idea really fast. I want my girl, she loves listening to like Reddit, like stories, right? And like those type of videos. So I wanted to like have like the pink thumbnail, like have her on as a series on the channel. So the kind of like Valuetainment. I don't know if you've seen it, where it's like characters and people can tune in when they want to watch a different episode. So like me and Daniel are more, we're not boring, but we're more like more business, corporate.
Yeah, exactly. Just the facts, not really,
like Adriana would be asleep right now.
Yeah, right. She'd be like,
So like maybe having different series, some are business, some are, interviews, because we can't always have an interview. And then some are comment, like new things happening in the market, but tying it into breaking the mold of how to escape being an average human and learning how to manage the world we live in. So I don't know. What do you think?
So based on my experience, and of course other channels are doing it, but when you introduce a new character on an established channel, it could go two different ways. Either they're going to like them more than you, or they're going to like you more than them, because they're not introduced to them when the channel started. So my recommendation is, like you mentioned, she's a different person. Maybe talk about a little different thing. Is she going to talk about entrepreneurship or something different?
So she has a boot camp. So like we would both be on the channel, similar to this right now. So we'd cover like, we have a topic of like, hey, look what happened to this relationship, how does it tie into like how to keep a happy relationship. It could be anything, sex, different, like whatever, but from the feminine side.
No, it's two different things, bro. Because I feel like this is all about the mindset and, business, growing as a person. Because what you just mentioned about sets or this and that, we didn't talk about that, So that, in my opinion, I will make a separate channel with you two, and then keep this channel just about what you've been doing, the mindset entrepreneurship. But
do you feel like it'd be hard to grow two at the same time though?
Oh, definitely, because you're spreading your resources. That's one thing I tell people. because so many people hit me up saying, Reyes, I love fitness. I love entrepreneurship. I like e-commerce, which is great. Family vlogs, which is great. But that's dividing your audience, because people who like the business might not like the fitness. And when you upload a fitness video, people who like the business are not going to watch it. And YouTube says, hey, if you're uploading content and your own audience isn't even clicking on it, why are we going to recommend it to other people?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I learned, was because at some point in my content, I was uploading whatever content, not even what I originally was doing, which is a side hustles. And that's why my channel has been suffering. And that's why I stopped, because I'm only going to upload something really good on my main channel. But like on my RT detailing, it's all detailing interviews. People already expect that. They got used to that and they want to see that. You get what I'm saying? Because on my main channel, people are used to me showing the hustles or like interviews with super interesting people. But I'll be honest, I don't want to do that right now. Yeah, I'm not passionate about it. I'm passionate about the YouTube management.
Okay,
go ahead.
Tell me your point. Do you see this as a good brand, like still being Julio Esteban Jr., break the mold? Is that something we can still keep doing with the channel that we have right now?
I haven't been up to date on what type of content you've been posting over there.
Yeah, it's like it's business, but mostly like with life. Like, how does a business owner navigate a life?
Yeah, sure.
Not much tinting.
Yeah,
anymore.
there was definitely a hard stop with the tinting content, and then it was, he did that first interview with the I keep forgetting the name.
Timble?
Yeah, business owner or the owner of that, and then directly into our first video, second video, third, reels, shorts.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a hard stop, but yeah, his content is, definitely tinting, and then some lifestyle stuff, like some vlog stuff that
the old stuff was tinting.
Yeah, exactly.
The new stuff is more vlogs. Like I did a Mendocino trip, and a bunch of people were like, dude, I love seeing your back end of your business. And that's when I started to say, okay, they like seeing my life. And then like people tend to gravitate, but I'm very boring. I do the same thing every day. So I'm like, I can't keep doing this.
What's your YouTube channel? I'm trying to find it.
Julio Esteban Jr.
Esteban.
Esteban. Mm-hmm. So it's JULIO space ESTEB.
Got it. So break the mold. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, where are you? Why haven't you posted? I'm like, fuck.
So here's the thing I'm going to tell you. You've been posting tint videos, and you grew your audience with tint videos. And you're right. I see you. Yeah. I see you. You guys just put a stop to it like a month ago, and you start focusing on these interviews. It's going to be like starting all over again. But at least you have a channel. But here's the thing you don't want to do. You do not want to flip-flop. Meaning, if this is what you want to stick with it. Because you're starting from zero pretty much. And then the new subscribers, they're going to like this content. But if you switch back to tinting, the new subscribers are not going to like tinting, and you already lost your old tinting subscribers.
Yeah.
So you really have to make a choice. Is this what we're going to stick with?
I guess the ideal, like what I would see myself doing even when I'm older, I really like the concept of valuetainment, where it's like different topics, different guests, different things. But like you said, there's Patrick Bet-David, and then there's valuetainment. So there's very different things. So
yeah,
it's hard to choose, because I like if, for example, something happens with China, it's like, well, how does that affect the U.S. economy? And then we have a discussion about it. So it's hard for me to just choose one thing.
So I get clients like this all the time. You have to do 2 channels.
Okay.
You have to, because one's going to be for those things that happen in the news type of stuff. And then this main channel is going to be all about entrepreneurship and the mindset. If you feel like you need to talk about it, then 2 channels is the way to go.
Okay.
But one thing is I will mention is if you are going to do that, keep editing and the style as simple as possible, because people are not going to follow you for how the video looks. Remember, they're following you for the information, and you don't need a lot of edits. For example, this podcast, you should be able to produce and post in less than 30 minutes because you already know where we took the breaks. You already know what we talked about. But I don't know what you guys do in the post-production, but the point is keep the content super simple because people are going to follow you for the knowledge and the information.
Yeah. I love it, bro. Well, thank you so much for the advice. You are the master at this. So I will for sure do that.
All right, guys.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much, bro. I hope you have a good rest of your night. I don't even know what day of the week it is. It's Wednesday. Why did I think it was Friday? I was like, have a great weekend. But all right, bro. It was great talking to you. And yeah, let's keep in touch.
Sounds good, man. Hit me up whenever. And hey, great podcast. I'm looking forward to the next one. Give me a year, bro. We'll come back in a year, all right?
All right, we'll put that note in the calendar.
All right. All right.